What's up, Wolverine Nation? Welcome to Week 4 Waiver Wire, Week 5 of the NFL season. I'm Jake Camejo.
I'm Matthew Barturin.
And Sally, our other co-host, Victor Torres, cannot make it with us, so we have a very special guest, Mr. Andion. Welcome, Mr. Andion.
Glad to be here.
So before we get things started, last week, the picks were whoever was the best gets the crown. So this week, I'm happy to say I won the crown. Thank you.
Congrats, Jake.
Thank you.
That's this week.
Yeah, that's this week. Let's see. Well, guys, Week 4 happened. What are your thoughts, Mr. Andion?
I think Tua should have gotten rid of the ball earlier. I think the Niners defense is the real deal, and they're looking like the best defense in the NFL.
Definitely.
Yeah, agreed. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, sadly, the Saints, another loss in a heartbreaking fashion. Just finding more ways to break my little heart. But, we always start off with our pickups. So, Mr. Andion, who's your pickup of the week?
My pickup is Boone from the Denver Broncos. I think that he is going to be a star in this new role with Melvin Gordon, the third fumbling last week against the Raiders. He is going to be looked at by that staff, and I think Boone will do well this week.
Yeah, definitely. Melvin Ingram's been very inconsistent this whole entire year with the fumbles.
He has 4 fumbles.
Yeah, 4 fumbles in 4 games, which is crazy. And also, the whole Broncos backfield is a mystery right now because they just signed Latavius Murray from the Saints off the practice squad, and Javonte Williams with torn ACL. Obviously, everyone knows that now. So we don't know who's going to be the lead back yet. And also, I was seeing in the film right here, Boone gets a ton of targets on passing game, and also he's a good running back right here. So I think that's a great pickup in my opinion, sir.
I think so, too.
So, Matt, who's your pickup of the week?
My pickup is Teddy Bridgewater, quarterback from the Dolphins.
Wow.
Injured Tua. Obviously, we all saw what happened. It was a very tough injury. So now that brings up Teddy Bridgewater after Tua was ruled out for Week 5. They do play the Jets. Jets, one of the weaker teams in the NFL, including their defense. And the weapons in Hill and Waddle, I think, will make Teddy Bridgewater look good, as well as him being a pretty solid quarterback. And especially if you're in a situation where your quarterback is in any kind of game time situation or anything like that, I think Teddy is a great guy to have on your bench as just in case.
I think that's a good pickup since he's going to have more than a week to take the snaps as the first team. So he will have that short passing game ready to go with Hill and Waddle.
Yeah, definitely. And especially when you saw in the Bengals game, his mobility and his pass reading was pretty good.
Yeah,
and
also
pretty
solid.
Also passed for 4 years ago when he was on the Saints. When Drew Brees went down, he came in and went 5-0 that 1 year.
Yeah.
So he is a very reliable option at quarterback.
Yeah, very experienced, veteran.
He's not gonna turn the ball over too much, and he's also got the scrambling component to his game.
Let's hope he doesn't turn the ball over too much because that's going to be his weak point, I think.
Yeah.
That would be the bad point in any football game. So my pickup of the week is Michael Gallup. Remember, he tore his ACL last year, mid-season, and now he's back. He came back last week against the Commanders. He had 3 targets, 2 catches, and a touchdown. And even though it wasn't a ton of volume, I expect him to get more volume as the season goes on. And especially Cooper Rush is playing out of his mind right now, which no one thought going into this Dak injury. And even if Dak comes back, he still has the chemistry from the past few years, and I think he'll come off the foot fine.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get the second best cornerback because CeeDee Lamb is starting to prove himself as the number 1 receiver. So Gallup will get the second and third maybe cornerbacks, and that will help his targets go up and his production go up.
Yeah, seeing his production, especially coming off of injury, is always reassuring.
Yeah, and also he ran 24 routes compared to Noah Brown's 22 routes in this past game on Sunday, which is a great sign for any guy coming back off of injury. So after the pickups, Mr. Andion, who's your start?
My start this week is Mike Evans. And coming off that suspension that he had over 20 points this past week with 2 touchdowns. I think he continues that with the weak Atlanta Falcons defense.
Yeah, when the Saints played Atlanta Week 1, Michael Thomas had 2 touchdowns and 50 yards. And I'm not comparing the two because I think Mike Evans is a better receiver than Mike Thomas because of his deep ball ability. But that weak secondary, especially secondary in the Falcons team, even though AJ Terrell is a great option, I still think.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a shootout. I think Brady has to get his numbers too, especially after a couple weak performances in the first 4 weeks. I think he's going to come home and get the W and give Mike Evans a lot of targets.
Yeah, that's a very reliable guy. You don't get 1,000 yards almost every year in your NFL career for no reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Matt, who's your start?
My start is Jared Goff.
Ooh.
Now, So not only as a pickup, because I know a lot of people have him on waivers. He's only rostered in 44% of leagues, but you could potentially start him, and this is why, because he is third in passing yards right now, and he's tied first in passing touchdowns. He plays New England, which is 24th against QBs this season so far. He had a great showing last week against Seattle, and in the lackluster defense in Detroit will definitely force the Detroit offense to have to keep up with the opponent on offense, which means that it could very possibly be a shootout going forward. And he also did perform last week without Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is his top receiver and one of the top receivers in the league right now. So I think that's why Jared Goff, I think this strong start to the season, I think it will continue and progress.
Yeah, especially with, sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Nyon, but especially with these shootouts, this Aaron Glenn-led defense from the Lions has been pretty bad. The Lions have scored the most points in the NFL, and they're 1-3, which is absurd in my opinion. So I think even though he's going to get back Amon-Ra St. Brown and DeAndre Swift in the coming weeks, that offense is I think is going to sustain its production and try to win those few more games.
I think it's a good pick, although I do see the New England running the ball a lot at home and trying to keep the ball away from Goff, but the Lions defense is atrocious. So they're going to have to come back and they're going to have to throw the ball.
Yeah, that's definitely a good reason.
Yeah, but my start of the week, I know you two won't like this, is Breece Hall, the Jets running back, the rookie running back.
Definitely not.
I know. Well, his usage has been going up the past few weeks. He had 15 points last week and 14 points the week before that, and 10 points on week 2, which is pretty good for a rookie running back going into his new offense. Not only is he a good runner that we saw from Iowa State, he's a great pass catcher, and since Zach Wilson's coming back, I don't think Zach Wilson's the best a good quarterback in the NFL. As we saw in that Steelers game, he wasn't performing that well. So I think that Dolphins defense, which is a top defense in my opinion, he's gonna dump off the ball to the flats and maybe get a few yards after the catch.
If it's a PPR league, then yes, he's gonna get a lot of dump offs, and the Dolphin defense likes to bend, not break, so he'll get a lot of yards. It's just I'm a homer, so I'm definitely never starting a Jet, Bill, or Patriot.
Yeah, I know.
Against the Dolphins.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, the Dolphins defense has allowed a lot on defense. So I think Breece Hall, the way he's been progressing throughout the season so far, I think that he could possibly continue that. But hopefully, as a Dolphins fan, we're able to stop him.
Yeah. So after talking about our blow-up guys and the guys we want to start, let's talk about the guys who we want to put on our bench for this week. So, Mr. Anyon, who's your?
I was between Matt Ryan and Baker Mayfield. Matt Ryan because of Thursday Night Football. Quarterbacks coming off a Thursday night short week. Not a good start, especially on the road. But I'm gonna have to go with Baker Mayfield just because he is underperforming. I think he's getting too much hype for the person that he is. And they're playing the 49ers defense, which right now is number 1 in takeaways and number 1 in the NFL.
Yeah, that 49ers defense last night against the Rams showed us that they're probably one of the best defenses.
7 wins in a row in the regular season against the Rams.
That's very hard to do against a divisional rival.
Correct.
So, yeah, Baker Mayfield, as a Saints fan, we played him earlier in the season. We lost, and even though we lost, I still think he didn't perform the best. And even with DJ Moore, he hasn't been connecting with his main guys, so I don't think Baker Mayfield's the top a guy you should be starting at on any league, PPR, half PPR, anything. Man, who's your sit?
My sit's actually DJ Moore.
Oh, wow.
His receiver.
What a coincidence.
It's amazing.
So hasn't had a productive season, ranked 51st of all receivers in fantasy right now. And this is obviously, as Mr. Andion said, due to Baker's struggles throughout the season and the struggles of that passing offense. And he also plays the 49ers, which, as you said, best defense in the NFL, I think. Top 2 in all categories. So I think that, DJ Moore's slump will continue, even though I think he's a great receiver. I think the offensive struggles will definitely keep, weighing him down.
Yeah, DJ Moore is a great receiver, definitely, but Baker Mayfield's holding him back. And this isn't the first time we see this with Baker Mayfield, as we saw with OBJ back in Cleveland. So I think DJ Moore, since he's not playing well, especially with Baker, because I heard rumors of the Chiefs talking to the Panthers for DJ Moore, so that could be a sign that the Panthers don't really want him anymore.
Could be.
Yeah,
maybe. You never know.
Who's your sit?
My sit, well, thank you for asking, Mr. Andion. Wow, I'm very appreciative of that. But my sit is DK Metcalf. He is coming off a shootout. He had 20 points, great game from him, but he came from a shootout with the Lions with a very bad defense. And other than that week against the Lions, he had 7 points and 8 points. I think those are the 2 weeks. Week 1 was 7 points. Week 2 was 8 points. So and he's coming into New Orleans. I remember last year against New Orleans, he had that one long touchdown, which should have been a pass interference in my opinion, but he had that one long touchdown, and against the Saints, and he's going against Marshawn Lattimore again. That game last year was very chippy between the two, and with the refs ejecting players and with fights, I think a fight could happen, but I don't want it to happen, obviously, because I want to see two teams with their full potential. But I think DK Metcalf is going to come in against the Saints, and the Saints defense played a lot better in week 4 against the Vikings, even though they lost, and the secondary especially. So I think the Saints is going to not lock down, but less than 10 points for DK Metcalf.
Wow, that's huge because five catches, 50 yards is 10. So that's a big ask there for your Saints defense.
My Saints, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, they progressed definitely last week against the pass rush was better and the secondary was better. So let's see how they play overall. So guys, before we go end the show, any thoughts, any comments before we go into the week?
We'll see how it goes. A lot of big games, a lot of interesting games this week. A lot of turnovers this past week also. A lot of fumbles we saw. So we'll see how teams bounce back from losses and also from games like Seattle and Detroit. How they are able to either keep it going on offense or fix it on defense. And also we'll see how Teddy Bridgewater does. Against the Jets.
Yeah, home crowd. I think he'll do well.
Yeah, we play on the road, so hopefully we have more Dolphin fans and Jet fans there. But just like KC and the Buffalo Bills won after setbacks in their previous week, they just won this week and reestablished themselves as the dominant force of the AFC. You see a lot of parity in the NFL. There's a lot of 2-2 teams, a lot of 3-1 teams, but they're all bunched up at the top. So we'll see how it goes this week and see if anybody can really step away from the competition and give themselves a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, I won my first fantasy game this past week, so I'm ecstatic. I actually beat Matthew right here, so I don't know about Matthew's
because
takes.
Kamara was out.
Yeah, that's what they all say. No, but in all seriousness, I'm excited for these games this upcoming weekend, and hopefully the Saints win, obviously, because I don't want to lose again. But so that's it, Wolverine Nation. I'm Jake Camejo.
I'm Matthew Barturin.
And I'm Mr. Andion.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Andion.
Thank you for having me.